concussion coming off that thing standing right here.
Feast your eyes on the STI Hextac 2011. Gorgeous, with a touch of rugged practicality. And this might be the highest quality production handgun in the world. Now let me explain myself before gaskets blow and volcanoes erupt. I'm not saying this is the nicest handgun you could possibly get your hands on. You could both pay more and get more precision if you wanted a custom order. And there are some legitimate custom shops out there. Brazos Custom, Nighthawk, Les Bear, Ed Brown, to name a few, they all make incredible custom guns. Even STI's biggest competitor, SVI, who co-owns the patent on the 2011 handgun, by the way, even they're a one-off custom shop. With all these companies, you need to choose the components and maybe even the design and place an order. Sure, you're going to have an incredible end product and molded right to your specs, but you'll pay through the nose for such a thing, and you'll be waiting until next Christmas for most orders to be completed. With STIs, on the other hand, you find specific models right on the rack at your gun store. Want another one? Need to replace a worn or even stolen gun? You might be able to pick it up that day. They are actually available off-the-shelf pistols. And I don't know of a more beautifully manufactured production handgun out there. Not only that, but they just plain shoot. And there's a reason for that. STI has long been a big player in the high-end handgun market. Back in 1993, before Sandy Strayer left and created SVI, he and Virgil Tripp revolutionized the 1911 market with their high-capacity design. Now fully employee-owned, STI has only had time to improve and perfect the process to what you see before you today. If you shot an STI, you already know they're a top-tier, excellent, reliable handgun. But the Hex Tac here is my favorite STI to date, and largely because it's not a one-trick pony. The Hex Tac was made with practical use in mind, targeting that audience that previously held off on STIs because of their heavily competition-geared design. With the Hex Tac, you get more combat-oriented features like a slightly heavier trigger, accessory rail, scaled back dust cover, combat sights on most models, a slimmed down mag well, and these vicious hex serrations to aid in charging the weapon. It can be used for self-defense, competition, or for just inducing a profusion of jealousy on the part of friends and family members at the range. Man, I have fun just sitting back and looking at it. I've long held that 1911s are the prettiest handgun ever made, and the 2011 carries those aesthetics forward, with a modern touch of double-stack mag capacity and improved weight. Though to be fair, the lighter weight of the gun itself is negated with the extra rounds in the magazine. Fully loaded with 20 rounds of 9mm, it's close to 50 ounces. So unless you're used to pants-down heavy guns, this really isn't an ideal carry piece. Put on the bedstand, in a carry bag, or the competition holster, it's lights out, money in the bag. I just love the way it shoots. Not to linger on the 1911, but I've also always been a fan of its ergonomics. And besides an ever so slightly fatter grip, shot impulse, the 17-degree grip angle, manual of arms, and even the familiar grip safety, the 2011 is right there. I love how the style of slide release never interferes with my thumb's forward shooting grip, eliminating that ever annoying slide failure to lock back on the last round, which I am completely plagued with. I really do induce that very problem on more handguns than not. And the Hex Tac here comes standard with an ambi safety, which is always a welcome feature. Not only is it great for offhand shooting, but it also lifts the gun slightly off flat surfaces for easy purchase. So in the drawer of the nightstand or under your bed, it climbs right in your hand ready to shoot. It's the principle of trying to pick up a dime from the kitchen floor. A touch of extra room on the downward facing side, and the job goes from tedious to easy as pie. This flared magwell here isn't excessively ostentatious. In fact, it's relatively low profile. This pragmatic approach lends itself greatly to lightning fast reloads with minimal increase to bulk or printing when concealed. The mag release is firm, reducing the risk of accidental drops, but when depressed, the magazines shoot out like a fat man on a water slide. And they insert with equal ease. It almost feels like the mags have a touch of natural lubricity. The smooth stainless steel on equally smooth polymer makes for an excellent pairing. And there's absolutely no mistaking when the mag's fully seated. There's a tactile and audible click. In short, I wouldn't change a thing. For me, mag changes are perfect on the Hex Tac. Trigger-wise, I have no complaints. On a custom competition gun, I would go a little lighter, but at 4 pounds, it's a perfect compromise for practical use with the occasional match. And as you would expect, there's negligible creep and over travel, short reset, and the break is crisp. Great trigger, completely satisfied. And in recent years, I've really grown to love these sights with the blacked out rear and fiber optic front post. I used to be all about night sights on any self-defense weapon, but on a larger gun like this, where it's always going to have a weapon light when it's stowed, this is the way to go. The fiber optic is bright and clear even in low visibility, and perfect when that target is illuminated by the light, even in the dead of night. And for speed, in the day it doesn't get much better. There's a reason competitive shooters largely favor this setup. That front post just pops. Now my Hex Tac here was a limited release, so it came with these adjustable rear sights, but most Hex Tacs will feature a ledge rear sight for you one-handed tactical rackers. so have no fear. I really do like the texture on the grip module, though I wouldn't mind if it were even more aggressive, since sweaty palms can reduce that traction. And again, though mine is a special edition in the FD in green, you still get that same grip, probably in black, and a masterfully executed Cerakote finish, again most likely in black. I've seen far too many uneven sprays, drips, and even scratches from the factory. But you won't see that here. With STI, the finish is grade A. Now getting on to what's probably the most pronounced addition to this STI, the Hex serrations, hence its namesake, the Hex Tac. I don't know what it is, but this little functional touch gives it personality with a mean streak, and I can't get enough of it. I think it looks truly amazing. That said, tread carefully, because these things can snag flesh. When I called these serrations vicious earlier, I wasn't kidding. After a couple minutes of dry fire practice with slide manipulations, my left hand was raw, and on came the gloves. This hungry little slide would eat you right up if you placed a finger on it when shooting, so use caution. But despite this hazard, I still dig it. It reminds me to use fundamentals and deliberate technique. And if I run into an adrenaline pumping situation, I know those moist hands won't be slipping off that angry slide before it's been fully charged. On top of those hexagonal cuts, you also have a slick tri-tip mill slide. It blends perfectly with the overall aesthetics, looks great, reduces some weight, and gives you that slightly sight-enhancing flat top slide. Now back to the build quality. This thing is built as tight as a drum, as it should be with this hefty price tag. But rack that slide a couple times and you'll immediately recognize where that money went. It is incredibly smooth. Imagine throwing your Glock in a rock tumbler, coating it in bacon grease, then having it worked over by your favorite gunsmith. The STI Hextac is still smoother. And that ultra smooth operation only aids reliability. While I haven't abused my Hex Tac since I don't have that kind of coin lying around, I have been running it dirty to see how it holds out. I can happily say it's shot perfectly since I first got it with no additional lube or maintenance of any kind. I haven't even cleaned the dang thing. And I mean not a single malfunction of any kind, magazine or otherwise related. I've tried many brands of ammunition with various bullet grains. I've even poured boxes of aluminum ammunition through this thing and it eats it all. Though I didn't try steel ammunition because I didn't want to void my warranty. But I can only assume it would probably feed. I mean, I've seen people run grit and dirty mags in their STIs with no problem. Flawless results. They're go-to-war reliable. And the rugged steel construction will guarantee it'll go the long haul and outlast lesser creations. But this is no joke, my current home defense handgun. If that rifle or shotgun isn't within reach, I know it's good to go. And I can also rely on STI accuracy through that heavy barrel and ultra high quality control. Plus this thing just points so naturally for me. It returns quickly to target without coercion. It's been so great to have the features of a modern tactical firearm and essentially a high capacity 1911 platform. Now real quick backing up for those of you who are just now being introduced to the 2011 handgun concept. There's a couple tidbits of information you should be familiar with. If it didn't sink in yet with what I said, the 2011 is essentially a 1911 with double stack mag capacity. And oftentimes with extended magazines, so serious firepower. 26 rounds of 9mm and 170mm mags, for example. The 2011 handgun also mixes it up with a polymer lower. The whole lower is really a polymer grip and trigger module on a steel frame. A glass-filled polymer with steel inserts molded in to be precise. So you get that true metal-on-metal contact between the grip and frame. Honestly, if it wasn't for the reduced weight, you might not even notice you're holding plastic. It's that well made. On the downside though, when you delve into 2011s, though the mag capacity is superb, the mags themselves are stupid expensive and can be difficult to find. Also, the double stack magazines mean you'll have a little bit thicker grip than what you find on your traditional 1911. Though the girth is mitigated since those grips are molded right into the module instead of being screwed onto the outside. But it truly does retain the 1911 feel, no question. Alright, so why did I go with the 9mm? 2 words: mag capacity. I figured if I was going for additional rounds in the 2011 anyway, might as well go sling as many projectiles down the pipe as possible. I'm definitely going to avoid getting to the 45 versus 9mm ballistics debate. Not going there. And like I said, I plan to hit up a few competitions with the Hex Tac as well. And 9mm is what I want for that. But no worries, if 45 is required to quench your thirst, it is available in that OG 1911 caliber. You'll just have to learn to live with 12 or 14 round capacity versus the 20 to 26 you find with a 9mm. Though 14 rounds in a 45 is a 4-leaf clover in its own right and nothing to scoff at. Another excellent perk of the STI is there's an endless supply of parts and accessories. Even holsters are easy to find. Even better, many 1911 parts are compatible, but if it's 2011 specific, third-party support is prevalent. You really could deck this thing out to custom-made standards if that's what you want. Possibilities are limitless. Like its predecessor, the 2011 isn't going anywhere. I'm absolutely thrilled that STI finally made the Hex Tac a reality. As they say, it's a melding of aggressive style with functionality. And it shows. Every new touch was pragmatically designed to increase practical applications. It's a home run. And I gotta say it again. It looks so good. I love that you can literally buy this exact gun as you see right here today. It's an absolute rarity in the industry to have a handgun mass produced to such high specifications. So protecting your loved ones at a match or is a beautiful thing to fondle and stare at, the Hex Tac fits the bill, if you can afford it.
Bouncing back up. Good hit. One more shot.
Oh, so sketchy.
All right, slow down.